you feel that this fall is your target point to have things in order?
There just seems like there's a lot of indications pointing that things could start to happen this fall. And when I was here the last time, I was prompted to look at next year. You know, we've got the 2 blood moons this year, 2 blood moons next year, and in the middle of the 4 blood moons is the solar eclipse. And you had a guest here, John Hagee, that said he inquired of the Jewish rabbis in Israel, and they said that the solar eclipse, March 20th of next year, is the judgment of the nations, the Gentile nations.
Yes.
And that's a very important point, because at the beginning of the Great Tribulation, war on the saints will be against the Gentile nations, not Israel, and possibly not the Middle East, because they're going to be given a separate 7-year peace that will trigger the beginning of the 7 years of tribulation. So when Israel is given a peace, the Gentiles will begin the war on the saints. So I was challenged to think about a scenario I've had for the last year and a half. My best guess scenario back a year and a half ago, before we got to where we are now, and now it's like I'd rather push things down the road a little bit.
Yeah.
But my best case scenario for a year and a half had been that the Great Tribulation would start in the spring of 2015, and 3.5 years of war on the saints would bring you to September, the month of the Feast of Trumpets, 2018, which would be 42 months from March of next year. 42 months, 3.5 years. Daniel says that the war on the saints will last for time, times, and half a time. 3.5 years. Revelation chapter 13 says that the Antichrist will take authority over the Christians for 42 months and defeat the Christians. So this war on the saints, 3.5 years, 3.5 years from March 20th, the time of the beginning of the judgment of the Gentile nations, 3.5 years puts you in September 2018, literally the week of the Feast of Trumpets. I really hope that the Great Tribulation doesn't start next year. But if it did start in March of next year, it would end up being 42 months, September of 2018. And the significance of that is not only because it's the week of Feast of Trumpets, which is the harvest feast of the Jews, but it is also 70 years from 1948, the rebirth of Israel. And in Matthew it says, when this generation will not pass away, talking about the fig tree, the rebirth of Israel,
yes,
the country, the land that belongs to God. I have it all outlined in this book. If you want to understand the rebirth of Israel and why it was in 1948, then you need to read this book. It's in the introduction of the book. And
we have a whole package of your stuff that they ought to get, because you got new updates in it. Is what they want to get.
So Matthew says, this generation shall not pass away to the coming of the Son of Man. And in Psalms it says a generation is 70 and longer if you're stronger. You know, an extra 10 years if you're stronger. But the life, a generation, all the way back to David, to the time of David, through the time of Jesus, all the way to our time, a lifespan has been considered 70 years. And from 1948, when the generation started that wouldn't pass away, 70 years is 2018. And like I said, I'm hoping we can go into the stronger part.
Now, aren't you afraid people will accuse you of setting dates?
Well, I'm not being adamant about this, but the pieces make sense. The pieces are coming together.
Well, what does it mean when the Bible says that Christians are not going to be caught unaware?
The Bible,
that he's not coming
we've been told,
remember, we preached that so much here.
We've been told to watch for the signs, And it says if you watch, you will not be caught unaware.
But see, like these blood moons, we really didn't know about them. I mean, I didn't know about them, and most of my friends didn't know about them. But here we're finding them. They're all on holy days. They're all on Bible days. They are not just some holy day that somebody made up. These are God's holy days.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And the crazy thing is, this ends the tetrads for our lifetime.
Yeah,
I know
that's
that,
right.
and beyond.
Yeah.
Long
Yeah.
way.
Well,
So he said to be the signs, as we read even from Genesis in the first book of the Bible, it talks about the sun and the moon being for
Yes.
signs. Well, we never totally understood it till now.
Well, you know, I actually started a study a few weeks ago on the signs of the time. I hardly got into it before I started seeing things that were just really quite incredible. And the point that spurred me to look at the signs was the fact that we're seeing the signs all over the place.
Yes.
And the thought hit me that if we're seeing the signs and we were instructed to watch for these signs, how can they all show up and not have significance?
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like if we was told to watch and to be aware so that we would not be caught unaware, and if the signs are here, how can we go past them without them having any meaning? They have to be pointing to, it's like a stop sign. When you watch for the signs and you see the red light and it says to stop, you're not supposed to just keep going, you're supposed to stop.
Right.
And,
That's right.
and the signs are here. They have to have significance.